I am so excited. We're gonna be crimping cards. Ha! Hello everyone, I'm Dan. Welcome to Evolving Magic. And today's jam session, as you can say, we are going to be covering a wonderful, wonderful technique. One of my favorites for when there's a heckler in the audience. That is crimping cards. As you'll see in the performance shortly, it is a wonderful technique to be able to maintain some level of control while satisfying the audience request to shuffle the cards, or if there's a crazy heckler and they really want to try to mess you up. This alleviates some of the pressure and the anxiety, I guess, of not being able to control the cards or be able to palm it off because you're under a watchful eye, but maintaining some level of control and going right on the spectator's radar. So, with all that said, I am excited to be able to cover the crimp. In a future video, we'll cover the breather crimp, which is another type of crimp altogether, but I want to cover all the fundamentals and the fun stuff of the basic crimp and how to do that. So with all that said, let's jump into the performance of it. So the performance would go something like this. A card could be selected, let's just say it's dribbled, and a card selected and shown to the audience. I want to look at it. Okay, hopefully there we go. And what we're going to do is we're going to have the card replaced, and again shown to all the members of the audiences. And someone saying that I'm cheating or using different cards, but you can see, as you can see, all the cards are different. It's not the same card over and over again. Then the spectator calls out, "I want to shuffle the cards. I do not trust you, Magician Man." And I go, "Understandable, if that is your request." I let go of the cards freely, no palming, nothing of that nature. And they immediately go off to shuffle the cards, mix them, what have you. Maybe do a riffle shuffle. Maybe even do a swirl. I'm going to take it to the bare bone limits and swirl all those cards all together. And so there's no possible way I could be able to ascertain the location of that card because it is so fair. And the audience would say, "Are you guys satisfied?" I would say to the audience, "Are you guys satisfied? The cards are shuffled in such a fair manner," and they would go, "Yes." And while it seems so fair and the card is impossible to find, the card could just be a literal cut away. And I would say to them, "Name your card," and oh, it is my favorite card, the Four of Hearts. Isn't that lovely? So with that said, this is a wonderful, wonderful technique that we're going to cover and go into, and it can save you a lot of anxiety for future performances. I say that from personal experience. So with all that said, let's jump into it. So what is the crimp exactly? The crimp is, and if I may put it simply, it is the bending of a card upon a corner, a part, or wherever. So let's just say here, so it can be able to be found later just as a deformed or slightly off card that be used later. Let me use it better right here as an example. So it could be minor, it could be different things, but it is very, very useful and something spectators seemingly overlook. When they're looking for the cards, they're looking if the cards are the same or something's off. They tend not to look at the corners. This is a magician thing where they look at the sides for the deck for any imperfections, looking for it in almost all the cases I've ever seen. So that is what we're going to do. And there's so many ways to nick a card that we're going to cover for the basics of it. And in doing this video, I know I'm not going to be able to credit everyone, but if anyone wants to leave comments in the comment section to the crediting, I will happily put in the description so I can make sure everyone is properly credited to techniques of their style of the crimping for the basics. So again, it could be alongside, so it could be like literally a deep bend along the center, the other way, like if it's like folded like this, it might not be as advantageous if someone knows how to do a riffle shuffle if it's bent forward, but usually in most cases it's along the corner. It's just a small thing around the corner. And let's just say for this two of spades, okay, when I put inside the pack, even with a well-used deck, I use this as an example. Let's see if you guys can see it up close. You can notice that there is a small imperfection that I can cut to right away. Okay, so I can see it from my end, and I just cut to it and I can get the 2 of spades right away. And then removing the work is easy. As you're getting ready to show the card, as I display it, I can hold it on the corners, and I can remove as I'm hyping the idea of the selection, if it is or is not the card. I am also removing that the work in the crimp, so that when they go to check it, or for how it would work if I'm very lax, I just let everything go, like you go crazy. For cleanup purposes, you are left very, very clean, which is lovely. So we're going to cover some basic ideas of how to do it, and then we're going to cover the idea in the context of a card trick. And I will credit some people I have seen or read about in literature doing some nature, one of those being Matt Schulian. So in one context, a card can be dribbled, and in the performance, what I had done, just for the context of performance, and we'll cover different methods, when the card is shown, okay, and then in the case of a Heckler, I can show all the cards different. This is just trying to play to their game and trying to be fair, so it doesn't create more of a hassle than it already is. And it brings the other members of the audience, assuming there are other members, to your side, saying he's really trying to be fair. He's just trying to do a card trick, and this guy's trying to hold you accountable, like being a shot caller. And then you even give in to that request of letting him shuffle the cards, and then you can do so, and you've already put in the work. And the work is put in this case. As I push in the card, you can leave it, as you push it slightly diagonally, you push it in slightly diagonally, and you can see it sticking out right here. So I should probably give better detail. The deck is held in a mechanic's grip. Okay, the cards are being pushed. The card is being pushed in by the just first finger, second finger, third finger, fourth finger, and it was in mechanic's grip, and the ring finger just kind of opens up a little bit, so you can get in that position, and then the ring finger comes right here. The ring finger can do the crimping in this case, in this context. Let me raise up. There we go, so you can get a better context. And right there. Okay? So we got it right there, and what we're going to do is we just use our ring finger, and the shade is allowed by the hand, so after it pushes the card in sideways, it acts as a cover briefly to square it a little bit more slightly, so it's not protruding from this side of the deck. It'll still be sticking out like right here, but your hand is covering it. I know this isn't the most technical version ever, but it does get the job done, per se. And so the card is sticking out right here, and all I have to do is just use my ring finger and pull down on it. Pull down on it and add some pressure and really crimp it in there. And don't worry if it's bicycle cards, you can work the bend out. Just don't work it too heavily, like make it permanent. I'm going to crimp it all the way, but just a good amount. And you can see, hopefully you can do it sideways. It's only a little bit. Let me see. There we go. It's not too much, but it's just I put the work in there so that when it comes time for shuffling, you can see that the work is right there. Okay, and all I have to do, well, there it is. It's very minor, so it goes over spectators' heads, especially when they're shuffling cards or whatever. It's still there. So in this case is the 3 of diamonds. Okay, I put the work in, 3 diamonds, and I'm not even going to look. I can just shuffle it. I'm not even going to look at the card. I'm just going to cut to it. 2 shuffles, and you even saw me exaggerating the performance. Shuffles like so. And then you could always revolve the deck in case you don't see it immediately. So I just, I covered it in a previous video, but just 4 finger, 3 fingers right here, thumb in the back, and just revolve it. And just like this. Take it by the side, gripping it, turning it. Turn it downward, grip it. Turn it downward, grip it. Anyways. So I noticed right away it's right near the top of the deck. I'm not sure if it can be seen, but I can immediately cut to it. Just a couple cards off, need be. I was like, there's no way I can cut to it. I can maybe do a double to throw off the idea that it is not there for spades. But I know I have the card, the 3 diamonds, right there. And building on up, we can set... I mean, that's a basic card effect in and of itself. Was your card the 4 spades? There you go, no. And we've already cut it to the top. There you go, no. Okay, I'll place in your hand. And by the way, and you're saying in the hand, you can remove the work, so you're left clean. And then you could say, what was the name of the card? You shuffled it, you did it, and you could stress all the conditions. And if it's a heckling spectator, in most cases, 9 out of 10 times, they will not likely tell you the name of the card. They say, just show it to me. Like, they gotta be nosy about it. I don't believe you, magician man, huh? Crazy spectators I work with. I'll tell you why it's important that I deal with this in a second, but then you turn it over into 3 diamonds. Now, why do I even bother dealing with spectators like this? Or, I know there's magicians who have their ways of dealing with spectators and canceling out the trick, and just none of it seemed right. The idea is, or in my case, and I say it, we'll say it ad infinitum, that if, excuse me, mosquito, is if you, like, there's a shot calling spectator, they just really want to be involved and they just don't believe any of it. But if you are able to manage that spectator, manage their expectations, and beat their expectations to whatever they set it to be the most impossible trick in their eyes, and you did it, it's reactive for them. They are going to go crazy. I can verify. But not only that, it'll make whatever magic you do from now to that reaction, that point, to the end of your show, 4 times greater. About 4 times greater, I imagine. So everyone's going, this is the greatest show. And you handled that spectator. They said they've seen everything, and you handle, oh my gosh, and blah, blah, blah. And it really does make a difference, being able to do it. And having these tools in the tool shed, from crimping to outing, really does help in the long run for that. So, enough of me ranting. That's one way of doing it. Another way of handling the crimping is to be able to, this is a more Daryl thing. I believe I saw this, and so I'm crediting Daryl for this, in the, I want to say, Encyclopedia of Card Slides Volume 5. I believe it was Volume 5 that I saw this technique. So you can show, so a card can be dribbled, in this case, or whatever context you get to here. It's like a Kelly bottom placement. And we show the card. Okay, they see it. And then after that, you can do it, you can, these fingers, these little pads, push the card off. Like you're about to side steal it. So you could side steal it, but we're not. We're not, in this case. So we show the card. Okay, they see it. Okay, we're going to lose it back inside the pack. And as you're squaring this, the upper packet onto the lower packet, this hand covering the shade, we're nudging this card out. So from the top looks copacetic, but we're right here. And then the underneath, the fingers overextend. It doesn't look like anything's really happening, especially if you tilt it downward. Okay, fingers come overextend, and they extend over that one card, and then they give that deep, deep bend. Boom, right here, and you got a deep bend to work in, and they can shuffle the cards, and you got that bend right there. That's one way, and you can get it out just with a simple back thing. There you go. Another one, and I should also mention, if you do choose to go this route, you also have alternatives. It's just about being creative, because I'm kind of creating, kind of reinventing the wheel here. Not really, but just let's say you decide to do this method. You could also come from the front. You could use your forefinger right here, and you could just bend down on the upper corner right here, or you can just in the context of being casual, you can use your ring finger and pull down on the back end right here. It gives you an opportunity. Another idea, and I'm just spitballing here. We're just spitballing with ways to crimp the card. Again, if any of these methods have been published already, leave in the comments and I will credit these people. I do want to give them credit for their versions of this Sleight, or their additions. Subtleties? Additions and subtleties, okay? Another way is, as you're pushing it in, the card in, as you're pushing it on in from the front, your hand covers it. You can crimp it using your forefinger on this part right here. So let's say, I'm going to do it with a random one. Let me shuffle the cards first. Okay, and I'm not going to look at the monitor, don't worry. I mean, I'm just looking at the camera, anyways. So let's say we stop here, okay? Card shown, okay? Card is placed back inside the pack. Hopefully everyone sees it, yes? Okay, and then in the context of placing it back inside, I have a bend, I have marked the card, and then it can be shuffled off. Hopefully it works. This is a little bit of a new one. Now I'm going to have to look back at the ideas of this one. But I'm just playing around with the different ideas to be able to get to it. Hopefully I got it. I'm just kidding. I know it's not 9 of clubs, but I give it a little flick. I get it. And I believe it's the 8 of hearts. I'm going to go look at the clip real fast. Nailed it. Ah, yeah. Oh, I'm terrible. So that is one way. So that is reliable. You just push it in, and as you push it in, you could push downwards right here, and then you can nick it right there. That's another method. So it really depends on for the basic crimping. It just relies on your creativity to be able to get the card. I think I've seen a mentalist do this one where it might have been. No, wait. I'm trying to remember. It's an Arthur Buckley technique to be able to crimp a card. I believe it's in Arthur Buckley's book. The many different kinds of card controls. So one other one would be to hold a card in a thumb and first finger right here. And then using your middle finger to subtly bend that bottom card down. So it looks straight on, so it looks dead on, looks fair, okay? And everything looks copacetic, okay? And you're just showing the card, and yet you've got that nick right there. So you could be able to see it. And then you can toss it back on in, they can shuffle it on up, whatever they want. And then you would know where that nick was at. I put so many nicks into this thing I might have lost it. Oh, no, wait, nope. It's right near the bottom. Hi-oh. And I got the card 9 clubs. So, yeah. God, there's so many nicks in here. Just remember to remove the work. Or don't bend them too heavily. You'll learn through time practicing. But the idea is to open up this, it being kind of a sandbox, fun session. So you can be able to know that you can crimp a card in many different types of situations. Let's say right here. Okay, let's say for card selecting. I'm just going to make up examples as we go along, and we'll find a context to be able to crimp. It's just, how do I bend the card secretly? Let's say a card selection. They touch one, you show it as you come down. This is a published technique, I believe. I'm not sure who did this one. I want to credit them. You can use your middle finger as you're coming down. And then you can crimp it right here. See? I just got the selection. Boom. Crimp it. And then you can push it in and then have it shuffled off. And boom, you've got control over the spectator's card. And as you can see, it's hopefully, maybe I need to raise the lighting on this to be able to get it just right. Actually, I don't even need to do that. I can just do this. Okay. Not sure if you can be able to see it, but from my end, I can just see it very clearly. Cutting to it, boom, and I got the 9 of clubs. Really, the 9 of clubs again? Odd. Or yeah, it was 9 of clubs. There's just so many different ways to do it. You can do peak style. Peak style is pretty easy. You can peek it, get a break on it. Then the spectators want to say, I want to shuffle the cards. You could push out and do that one. Let's say dribbling. Dribbling, you could just put back cards. You would show it twice and then nick it. There's just so many different ways. It's just about you being creative and just going for the nick and being bold with it. Because Magic's like kind of like science in a way of trial and error, in the context of trial and error, to be able to see what works and what doesn't. I mean, most of my Magic just came from literally books and just trial and erroring, see what works, what doesn't, and then tweaking it so it does work. And always advancing it for the modern audiences, because social media has kind of made much of it public. I'm an academy, so I'm different from that context. But the idea is we want to be able to deliver upon really good stuff to fool our audiences and amaze. We want to amaze them. We want to show that it's not even about the tricks. It's about us giving from ourselves in a loving manner a wonderful experience. That's ultimately, and I'm going to harp on forever, what we want to strive to give. Secondary is always going to be, did you see how I slayed those audiences? I blew their minds out. Oh my gosh, it was the craziest. I never understood that kind of thing. I mean, I get it, but I think giving from ourselves in a loving manner to a wonderful experience ultimately has a little bit higher place in the hierarchy of that. So that is the basics. Excuse my ranting. But ultimately, I believe this is those are the basics of crimping. Just be able to have a crimp, and oh, I forgot to cover the cutting of it. Yes, I should cover the cutting. What am I doing with not covering that? Okay, so I should also cover the cutting. So let's say we got a card and we've nicked it. Okay, 2 of clubs, we've nicked it, and the cards can be shuffled. We have no idea where the card's at. We're just shuffling it. We're going. Okay. So we've got that, and so how we cut to it? Well, I mean, if you're really, really bold and you got a really good finger, pinky finger, then you can just go to it right here. So you can just pull on. I see it. You see it, side it. So don't see it here. Then you can turn it around. I see it here. You could use your, if you're really bold, use your pinky, making sure you get to it, and then you could do a triple cut or what kind of cut you want, and control it to the top. And there's also subtle ways to do it. I believe John Armstrong gave the tip, but it was for a different kind of technique, where he would actually put his eyes down and actually be watching as people shuffled to track where it was going, if he could, to save time on that. So that's a little tidbit there. Can't really reference what it's to. I can have deep respect for John Armstrong, believe it or not. And there's just many different types of things. Let me remove that nick. So I could still cut to it, the 2 of clubs, because the nick is still in there, but just a little showing of the card. Like, you could just do this, revelation, removing the work. I should also cover removing the work. Boom, just do that, and you got it. In the upcoming jam session, we'll cover the breather crimp again. I don't do it too often, as it is not as reliable in my personal experience. I know everyone else is going to say otherwise. For new decks, great, but since I'm always, out and about, and I don't know what kind of pack of cards I may have, whether it be new or used, breather crimps can be, if they're not 100% reliable for me, I just tend to not use them. Just like cutting perfectly on the Vernon Triumph, they're like cutting on the card perfectly, the separation. I mean, I was 3 off, and I just need reliability in my work. So, I will cover it though, because it is a useful technique, and everyone deserves to know it. So with that said, I hope this information on the crimp was useful to you and in your work, however you choose to use it. And I hope it is in your toolbox if it ever comes across a chance, which is in the many cases I use it, in case there is a heckling spectator and you want to, if you can manage them and impress them, blow away the entire audience for the rest of who is watching. And with that said, I hope you have a wonderful day, and see you in the next video.